Hi dear Sapphires, hope you're all well and getting ready to rock and roll into Christmas. Today I want to explore what actually happens in the human brain during times of prayer, intuition, or what some people describe as psychic or spiritual connection. Not to argue whether these experiences are real or imagined, but to understand what state the human mind enters and why that state keeps showing up across cultures, belief systems, and history. Some people experience these moments of prayer. Others call them intuition, inner knowing, or heightened awareness. And some people don't believe in any of it at all. As you're listening, I invite you to notice, how does this topic sit with your own worldview? Does it feel familiar, challenging, or somewhere in between? So what happens in the brain then? When someone enters a prayerful or deeply focused state, certain parts of the brain become more active and others become quieter. The prefrontal cortex, involved in attention and meaning making, tends to engage more. This helps us focus, hold intention, and create coherence. At the same time, the brain's default mode network, responsible for constant self-talk, rumination, and ego narrative, often quietens down. That's important because when that inner chatter softens, people often report feeling guided, connected, or outside of time even. The temporal lobes, linked to pattern recognition and symbolic experience, can also become involved. This may help explain moments of sudden clarity or insight. And the parietal regions of the brain, which help define the boundary between self and environment, can reduce activity, creating a sense of expansiveness or unity. As you're listening to this, I'm just curious, does understanding these experiences through the brain make them feel more grounded, or does it take something away from you perhaps? Let's have a wee look at the body and chemistry. Alongside brain activity, the body shifts as well. Breathing slows, heart rate steadies, and the parasympathetic nervous system comes online. This is the system that tells the body, you're safe right now. Chemically, the brain may release dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins, substances linked to motivation, emotional regulation, connection, and relief. From a biological perspective, these states regulate the human nervous system. The brain doesn't distinguish between prayer, meditation, or intuitive focus. It responds to the state, not the story. And that raises an interesting question. Do you think meaning comes from what we believe, or from how these states make us feel? So how does this affect prayer and intuition? Some people describe these experiences as prayer, others describe them as intuition or psychic connection. Neurologically, they appear to draw on very similar networks. That doesn't mean every interpretation is objectively true, but it does mean the experience itself is real to the person having it. If you've ever had a moment of deep stillness, clarity, or inner knowing, how did you interpret it at the time? Did you label it as prayer, intuition, coincidence, or something else entirely? So why does society need believers? People who believe in prayer, intuition, or spiritual meaning often hold something essential. They preserve hope, they generate vision, they ask why, not just how. In uncertain times, they are often the first to imagine peace, reconciliation, or a future that doesn't exist yet. They are meaning holders. If you tend to lean this way, do you feel that belief is supported in today's world, or is it quietly dismissed? And why does society need skeptics then? Skeptics are just as essential. They question claims. They ask for evidence. They protect against exploitation and blind belief. Skepticism isn't cold, it's protective. Without skepticism, belief can harden into dogma. Without belief, skepticism can slide into cynicism or despair. So here's another question to sit with. Which side do you find yourself leaning toward more right now? And has that changed over time at all? Let's look at the pendulum on this topic. Healthy societies need both. Belief and skepticism aren't enemies, they're counterweights. When they work together, they create balance. When one tries to erase the other, something human breaks. We don't need everyone to think the same way. We need different ways of thinking to coexist. Do you think peace comes from more shared beliefs or from learning how to live with very different ones? So just to finish off today's reflection, whether you experience these states of prayer, intuition, or focused awareness, they tell us something important about being human. They regulate us, they connect us, they help us endure uncertainty. Agree with me? Disagree with me? I genuinely love to hear how this perspective lands for you. Maybe peace doesn't begin with agreement. Maybe it begins with understanding how differently wired minds can still belong in the same system. Would love to hear your take on how our brain functions during prayer. Okie dokie, off to the salt mine I go, wishing you all a fabulous rest of your day. Lots of love and bye for now.